didn't.
I said I know I'm the one that broke. I'm the one with a toddler and like teaching corporate classes, and I still like.
It's all okay.
For once, it wasn't me.
Hi, Internet. It's Jacob, your friend and guide in this thing that we're doing. Hello. I am once again joined by...
David Sanders.
And...
Becky McDonald.
And...
Alex the Bearbard.
Hey, we did it. We did a whole thing. I remembered to do it at the top of the show this time. So... double checking with our tech guy, Carlos. Are we live and all good? Okay, fantastic.
We're not live. We just talked to
running
ourselves.
around with all the branches and such. It's okay, yeah. Yeah, it's we're currently doing. It is the first week of June, so the entire system is celebrating Pride.
Happy
So,
Pride!
So all of that is happening right now, and so there's a whole bunch of things doing. But for those of you that have taken the time to watch us live. Or will watch the recording whenever it's up. Hey, if you just finished watching the other one, sorry it was a week late if you're one of those people that is watching it live. That's my bad. We forgot. That's not an excuse. That's 100% just our factual error of me waking up in a cold sweat last night going, I never uploaded the video.
I'm not even mad at you.
And I'm just like, oops. So yeah, that should this episode. If you're watching this as soon as it came up, thanks for being here. Otherwise, yay.
Brought to you by not remembering things.
That's my bad. You'll have to excuse me if I seem a little burpy today. I had a lot of soup. It is soup week here on the 3rd floor. All of the staff decided to do a week-long potluck where we each brought soup.
I forgot Soup Week again.
Soup week.
Yeah, so all of us brought
Soup
soups.
week.
I made conchas, so that was tasty.
Nice.
We've had a couple of things. We've had like zuppa toscana. We had this like really good cream of mushroom thing. We had like a broccoli vegan thing that was really good. I want to say Joe made caldo. It was all good times. But that was for us at the staff. You guys who participate in library stuff. That was not for you. That was just for me.
I will
This is how great
say,
it is
it's
not
been a
to
rough
be you
time,
guys.
all right? The systems are still down. We needed something to do that made us look forward to the day, so we all made soup.
I mean, when I did work for the library, I did have a patron who brought me soup. Granted, he also told me he could smell my heartbeat.
Library.
I was like,
Creepy.
cool, thanks.
Thanks.
I really appreciate that. I'm going to need a security detail to make sure that I'm okay when I walk to my car.
How was the soup?
I did not eat it. That's a very valid question because knowing me, I would have been like, "Whoa, that sounds delicious!" Like, no risk in my brain.
I bet it was the
What
best
a strange
soup.
man.
I bet it was the best soup you ever would have had too. Though you just tossed it, but it was just like he's like a little bit of paprika on top.
Right? He's actually like a secret chef.
Never eat the fairy food. Never eat the hell food.
That's
Never do
right,
that.
right.
Rules are made. Don't do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, speaking of fairies, transition.
Yeah.
We're going back to the Bardlands this week. Can we get a rundown of what happened last session from our players, please? Because
Somebody looked at
my
Dragon in the
memory is a sieve, and also, you guys talk.
Well, usually I don't take notes. I just watch the uploaded video of last week.
That's
Dang.
bro. I was thinking the same thing. I watch it.
I've been
Dang.
hoisted by my own petard.
By the way, David is no longer here.
Right?
He's now going by Daniel
No,
again.
I'm no longer here. I just got banished to the Shadow Realm. I am
No,
now
no, no,
coming to you live from the other side.
If that
What
was
you
true,
see
that would be
here
my fault.
Is a spiritual facsimile of the being that used to be known as Jacob. And now I am merely a ghost.
I just watched a murder happen.
Yes, I have died.
As I recall, last week we met the patriarch of the Capulet family.
We did indeed.
He did. He was a very nice gentleman. Very respectful.
And we're tasked with making our way across the backstage to a new stage. Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, so we
Yes.
teamed up with a traveling caravan carnival.
Carnival,
Yeah,
circus, take your pick.
In which someone decided to stray off the trail and
Look at a dragon.
interact with the
It
dragon.
was a baby dragon that seemed hurt.
Drakeling.
And so Rosalind, in all of her compassion, much like the man in Yellowstone Park, went and picked up the baby dragon, not knowing the consequences. So unlike the man in Yellowstone, where the baby calf had to be euthanized, Rosalind instead ended up with reptilian eyelids.
Moth thought they were very nice though.
Yeah.
Moth likes them. So
Yeah. So this is now, it's a new fashion. It's a new plastic surgery thing. Everybody's going to get him. Everyone's going to follow that trend. Tastemaker.
And then I think at the end, one of our rotten ink assassins showed up.
I also won a dance battle, so that was dope.
Yeah.
That's,
right.
yes. Let's not forget that.
That's
I
right.
crumped. I straight up. It was what's up.
right.
And I have a chain from somewhere. I don't know where he got it from, but he got it.
Yeah.
He rocking it. So there's that.
I want you to know that in every time I think about that moment in the game, I just hear like, it's like that. And that's the way it is, like Run DMC. And he's
So
top
you got
rocking.
Furiously sweating,
Yes.
panting while he's doing it, like
Get it.
MC Moth.
MC Mug.
Yay.
must do one of the pillars of hip hop. Must
Yes.
B-boy faster.
Hey. We did not, I don't know about anyone else. I did not see the fight coming at the end. And it did.
Came.
And once again, shout out to Hoppers.
Hopper,
Hoppers.
he missed maybe 20,000 times in a row, but I'll still give him credit for the win.
Lethal
That's right.
Frog.
He could not hit anything yesterday last time, though. I don't know what it was. He missed. I think he hit once. He missed every other time.
He was trying, man. He was
Okay.
trying.
Croaked it.
We return
Croaked it.
to backstage, where our crew is surrounding a body. A rotted, ink-covered, emaciated-looking thing lies on the ground at their feet. What was once a diminutive, goblin-esque individual that had only mere moments ago frolicked and rumpused with the rest of the carnival folk, suddenly turned into this thing and then was dispatched by Hoppers and Moth.
I assisted.
The caravan master stands about 10 feet away, biting at his knuckles, trying to keep calm everyone else. Sort of not wanting to have to deal with that particular bit of nonsense, and sees instead our three adventurers that were the only ones that ran towards the danger, and is sort of allowing them to handle it. Were it not for the sour mood put upon our crowd based on the death that has just occurred, this would be a rather beautiful night here in the backstage. Technicolor trees with many colored leaves line the copse of this clearing in the middle of a forest that the caravan has decided to stop at nights. Stars splatter across the sky in a milky trail across as little bits of light sort of flick in and out and streak across the sky. The sound of insects, crickets, and grasshoppers hum in the distance, along with the croaking of frogs. It's the sound of the night, something that a lot of those of the mortally inclined amongst you have probably not heard in quite some time. But now you three find yourselves in front of a body again. The stage is yours.
One clarification question. When you said, the first time you said body, you're talking about just the body that we killed, that nobody else died, right?
No one else.
Cool.
So
So the
one
way
or
you
two-
worded it almost sounded like you said somebody else died
Yeah,
too, so I
no,
was just making sure.
one or two were injured, and they are currently being treated
Okay, cool.
by essentially the on-staff doctor / medicine woman Dentist, take your pick. She's a woman of many hats.
And a barber.
Yes.
Her name is Dr. Quinn.
Yeah. And so she's treating the two that ended up getting clawed by this thing before it fully transformed. And the fight was instigated.
I think York's first instinct would be to go for parchment to see if he could identify what words were written on here,
Okay.
like before.
Which story is it?
Roll investigation.
While he's doing that, I grab a stick.
Yeah.
I'm just standing there
No,
saying,
no, no,
nobody
no.
touch it. Nobody touch it.
No, he's trying to be very careful not to touch anything and is not being successful. He only came up with a 7.
Okay, on a 7. Everything's too smudged from what you were poking at. It was hard to tell.
I use my stick to kind of poke at it and try to see if I can get a bit of parchment that isn't smudgy.
Yeah. Go ahead and let's go ahead and have everyone roll investigation if you haven't
Instead of
already
everyone
on this.
describing the exact same
Yeah,
thing.
so that way we can see if your guy what the state of this is.
Ooh, a 9.
9,
18.
18.
Hey,
Okay.
Moth
Good.
again.
One of us can get some info.
I was really thought all of us were on low.
Everybody grabs some sticks and starts poking at this thing, trying to figure out like, okay, is maybe this.
Everyone
this.
else is watching us.
Um,
What are they doing?
Moth ends up getting just a twist of parchment that still has a bit of legible print on it. Unlike the other ones, which the edges of this were singed, right, due to the fire that was used when dispatching the other ink monsters, ink assassins, whichever name you decided to use.
Inkman.
You see this one, the edges of it are instead covered in this like green yellow mold that sort of surrounds this thing and offers this sort of in addition to the rotten ink smell, this gives sort of that fecund smell of old forest, but one that smells like it's been chemically bombed or something. Like it feels like if someone's taken a tree and allowed it to rot, but in doing so they treated it with some sort of poisonous thing to keep bugs away. So it ends up having this acrid, awful smell to it.
Looking at this, because Moth is more familiar with this kind of setting, if he's looking at this and he's feeling, would he get a sense that like maybe this is like a corrupted forest? Like they took something from the forest and it was corrupted. Again, that's how my mind works. I was just think if that's, you know, if you think.
Go ahead and I'm going to say roll. You can run this one, and I'm going to say you're going to roll investigation again to see if you recognize what this.
6.
6. Okay. You can't tell on that one the potential origins of this. You know that before this thing turned, it was what yours would call a goblin, which is like a sub genre of Fey folk, right? To everyone outside of the Fey world, Fey or Fey, but you all have specific delineations.
Oh, sorry, we saw. Sorry, I forgot that we actually watched the goblin
Yeah.
cough, and I forgot that part for some reason.
Yeah.
He slowly turned.
What you do read is the studded bridle on a ragged bow. Nimbly she fastens. Oh, how quick is love! The steed is stalled up, and even now, to tie the rider she begins to prove. Backwards she pushed him as she would be thrust, and governed him in strength, thought not in lust.
I read that out loud for everyone to hear.
Would anyone like to roll history?
I would.
Yeah.
I will. 'Cause I gotta do
Moth,
better.
you're not gonna know this.
It's worth a shot. I only rolled it like a 10. Anyway,
17.
17.
Yeah.
Okay. This you recognize this from the poem Venus and Adonis, which is a story of the goddess Venus trying to tempt Adonis into being with her. despite him after she's essentially kidnapped him. So you recognize that this is a piece of that particular story, but has been made into on whatever this thing was. Is now ripped up into it. From what you can tell from the other investigation that Moth is able to sort of pull out, the other bits of scrap seem like they're probably from that same thing. But this one is Venus and Adonis. It looks like it was the story used to create this thing.
How sad that it's like Venus and Adonis poured from a goblin. Poor goblin.
Venus and what?
Venus and Adonis.
The ringmaster is Barnabas. Is that correct?
He's about 10 feet away from you.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I think I would want to see if I could just go have a word.
Yeah.
With the ringmaster.
He's you see him and he's like, everyone, please calm down. Just go back to go back to your carriages. Go back to your tents. I will do what I can to clean up. Yes.
Yeah. As Yorick approaches, he just goes straight to work asking questions. Have you ever experienced anything like this before? Is this new to you?
Yes, this is new to us. I've never seen anything like this. We know that backstage is dangerous for those of us that do not know its movements. But I've never seen anything like this. As long as we follow the rules, it's always been right.
He says, well, no, this is a phenomenon that is not, at least it's not confined to the backstage. This one that changed, is it one you knew?
Yes. That was Bug.
Anything strange leading up to the change? Anything that would have been off or different? Any place that he'd gone or anyone he'd spoken to? Anything that he wore?
Not that I know of. Bug was a footman, essentially. He carried things for us, helped pack things up, brought up and tore down the tents, worked on stage things. Despite him being of this world, he had a fascination with the sort of, I guess, practicality of mortalhood.
So he had been with your troop for quite some time?
Yes, he'd been with us for at least 2 years.
I guess I'm wondering just why was he chosen?
And how?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I
That's why I
suppose-
said, how sad is it that a poor goblin gets stuck with Venus and Adonis?
I suppose we could investigate his things if his family was permitting.
Well, okay. Before we jump in and start investigating things, again, maybe we should take some precautions. Let's maybe put some gloves or something on. I don't know. I mean, we just watched him turn.
I think you may be right. We might want to do something. I do have a question. Was he gone for some time? Did he have, I don't know if you guys call it shore leave, or did he go away from the troop? Or?
I mean, on days when we're not performing, it's not that I hold my troop hostage. They're allowed to explore and investigate whichever city that we're in. Verona has many interesting things that one could explore. I have no idea what he could have gone to.
Point us in the direction of the rest of the carnies who might have more information about his most recent interactions. In the meantime, how long do we have until we make it through?
He sort of looks at the bizarre fairy clock that he pulls out with the 5 different faces and the 9 hands, and he's like, carry the 2. It pulls out a small calendar. It's a Tuesday, right? Yes, and then
It's Tuesday.
and then yes, and then
Very
faces of
important.
the
You don't
moon.
understand.
Tomorrow morning. We were planning for the nights, but it should be about another 5-6 hours of travel after everyone's rested for the night. But we need to feed and water the horses.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to make my way to the carnies, the people that might have worked closer with Bug.
Yeah. You make your way over to the back corner of the caravan. The front half is essentially talent. It's actors, strongmen, jugglers, even a caricature artist or two, a fortune teller woman, things like that. That's sort of handle the entertaining of the crowd and stuff like that, along with putting on shows. You pass the clown buggy at one point, and then you head to the back where essentially the stagehands live. They like to keep to themselves. Everyone else is far more shaken up, but you can tell that this crew is far more understanding. Maybe because they were closer to Bug, where the rest are scared. They just seem sad and more mournful. When they see you walk over, intermixed with them is they're mostly human. Most of the Fae, from what you can tell, seem to be either here for navigation or were part of the talent. After all, that's more fun. However, in addition to the about dozen or so humans here, there is one other Fae, a large, loping, almost Bigfoot-esque female-presenting individual. She's covered in hair, big hands, no tusk or anything coming out, wearing like a little hoop skirt and like a little top and everything, but little feather in her hair. But she's currently doing some washing and sort of just dabbing at her eyes every once in a while. You can tell that she's seems pretty broken up about this. The rest occasionally you'll see will come over. You see that a couple of humans are like talking to her and are like trying to get her to eat something. And she's just telling them no and everything, and you can't quite pick up what they're talking about, but you can tell that they're trying to console her.
Oh, I want to talk to her.
Yeah, York would actually put his arm out to Rosalind and say, I feel you may need to take the lead on this one.
Oh, I was waiting. I was just waiting for you to say go.
So you see her. She stands at about 8.5 feet tall.
Oh,
big lady.
she's a beautifully tall woman.
Yes, and is sort of just scrubbing and just.
Hey.
Hello. I'm sorry. If you're here for the wash,
No, can I help?
I suppose if you feel like it's.
I just mean that sometimes, like, when you got a lot on your brain and a lot on your heart, like, sometimes it helps to have some extra hands with the task you're doing. Were you good friends with Bug?
She sort of hands you a bar of soap and gestures to the wash bin.
And I'm terrible.
Yeah, she corrects you a couple times.
Know what this
while
is
you're
for.
waiting for that answer. And I'd say after about 3 shirts, a pair of pantaloons, and a cape, she finally says, I've known Bug for probably about 40 of your human years.
Oh.
We Fae don't keep to the traditional concepts of monogamy like you mortals do. We go where we please. But that doesn't mean we don't have favorites.
Oh, it was like that.
Bug. Bug wasn't my husband or anything, but he was my friend. Probably my best friend.
I'm really sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to cut to the chase because I don't have a lot of friends per se. So this whole like social interaction thing is sometimes difficult for me. Full disclosure. But
I appreciate you trying.
I mean, at the end of the day, I would hate it if you lost another friend in a similar manner to the way that you just lost Bug. It feels so random and like out of nowhere. Do you mind if I just adjust this hair real quick?
Okay.
So, did you notice if Bug did anything different than the way you normally operate. For instance, right? So one day, I normally get up the day, I have a nice meditation, I eat breakfast, do a full stretch, do the whole pamper shower thing, and then I decide what outfit to wear, and that can take me a lot of hours. But there was one day that I deviated from that, and instead I went downstairs and I made myself a sandwich. Threw my whole day off, right? But only one person noticed it, and I got sick that day. And one person was able to be like, oh, she deviated from the norm. She ate a sandwich. I'm just wondering, did Bug do something like that?
That was a lot of words you said very fast.
You like sandwiches?
Sandwiches are delicious.
I suppose there was one thing. And she sort of like goes over, and she goes over to a backpack, leaning on one of the tents, and she reaches for it and then says, actually, I can't open this. If you would please open it for me.
As this interaction is happening, York's just keeping an eye on everybody else to see if there's any reactions to someone new talking, to the situation. Just kind of watching the others in this tight
They're
vicinity.
sort of a little surprised that she was willing to open up to Rosalind, but at the same time, maybe opening up to a stranger makes it easier.
I have a gift.
And you notice that whenever she goes over to the backpack, a lot of them like sort of get up and are like trying to decide like what to do at that point whenever they see her reaching for it and then not being able to grab it. Mm-hmm. And they're just like, one of them, a surly looking man, with a shaved head and like a couple of scars just like all over his place, and he looks like he's missing a pinky finger, sort of gestures at you to come to him because he sees you, and he saw that you were walking up to Rosalind. He says, go help your friend talk to her. That was Bug's bag. She can't. Oh yeah, just I would do it, but I also don't think I could open it, if I'm honest.
I'll just give him a pat on the shoulder. So for the most part, just genuine concern from the group. Okay, yeah. And I'll head back over there where they are.
Yeah.
So I haven't taken anything from her yet.
No, she's walked over to the bag and has left you to it, and she's about 12 feet away. And she sort of just at that point has told you like I can't. If you're welcome to, but I can't open this. There's something, but I can't open it.
Okay, I would love, I'm not even gonna lie, because I'm nosy and I love to discover things, I would love to be able to go into this bag. But check out my eyelids real quick. And I blink and like makes that like little like sticky click sound. Yeah, see.
You're the dragon girl.
Yeah, see, I got nosy and compassionate at the same time, and oops.
Coming to talk to me makes more sense.
I have no social graces in terms of this realm, and I just shoot from the hip, and I make a lot of mistakes.
Social graces actually means you fit in just fine.
Oh, thanks. Blink, blink. Thanks. This is so cool. You're so cool. Did anyone tell you that you're super beautiful? You really are.
Thank you.
Bug used to tell me.
I was told that today.
By Bug?
Yeah.
Because he was telling the truth.
Thank you.
So, here's what we're going to do. It's just two things. We're going to find a way to open this up, and we're going to find what happened to Bug so it doesn't happen to somebody else you love.
I appreciate that.
Just
it's
two
not
things.
that I can't open it because I'm physically incapable. I can't open it.
Because it hurts.
It hurts. And so
I know.
just, you can, there's a latch. Just undo that, and then you can look through it yourself.
I think I would just hold your hand for a minute, and I'm going to cast Dispel Magic on the whole bag.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah.
Close up.
When you cast Dispel Magic, I gotta look at what does Dispel Magic specifically say?
Dispel Magic says, choose a creature, object, or magical effect within range. Any spell of 3rd level or lower on the target ends.
Listen, I don't like that you asked, though. The fact that you had to ask doesn't
I
make me
need
feel
to know
great.
the wording of how it works. You cast Dispel Magic, and it doesn't look like there was a spell affecting this.
Okay. All right.
There's you're not seeing anything plucking on the errant magic
Just a precaution.
to do it. But yeah,
It doesn't appear that anything happens.
yeah,
Hey, we take no chances with these. Now that I've reptile eyelids, we
Yeah.
take no chances. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start opening up the latch, and I'm gonna like. It's not even just like on politely opening it. It's just like open it and like
yeah.
shove my head into the bag to see like what all
Yeah.
is in there.
Inside the bag, you find a couple things. You find a couple shirts. You find teeny tiny little socks. Because again, goblin.
Look at the oh my god, they're
Yeah.
like human baby feet. Look at this.
Teeny tiny little socks. A pair of boots that look like they need to be repaired. There's a small coin pouch with a couple of like copper pieces, stuff like that. But from all sorts of different cities. All the major city states essentially have their own currency. So there's some from London. There's some from Verona. There's some from Rome. Some from Illyria even. But they're all small demarcations. So they're all like copper pennies, $1 bill equivalents, that kind of thing. Not a lot of money.
Right.
You find a mug that feels warm to the touch. And you also, whenever you hold up the mug, she says, that's his coffee mug. And she sort of reaches for it, and then she pours in essentially like lukewarm coffee. Yeah, it should be open. Yeah, it's open.
Yeah.
You find lukewarm. She pours essentially like lukewarm coffee into it, and then after about 5 seconds, it starts to steam. And she says, "Little thing he got last time we were in." Last time we were in Rome.
That is such a great item.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you guys were like forward thinking. Good job.
Common fun little magic items you can get from the right little things. What you do find are two things of interest. One is a letter with a broken seal, and the other is an invite to a party in Verona
Oh my god.
from about a night ago.
Oh my god.
Or I guess it was however many nights ago whenever you had your party.
That's been a couple nights. Awkward.
So, pull the invitation out. I'm kind of just holding it, and I'm like, not trying to be rude or anything, but this was my party, and I definitely don't remember inviting Bug. No, it's not me trying to be exclusive or
She
anything.
reaches out and snatches it.
I just didn't even know this whole realm existed up until like now. So how could I invite a goblin?
He said that he went out for drinks that night.
Not with me, he didn't. Ooh, girl, you better talk to some friends.
No, he said that he was going with local friends that he had made in Verona. He said that one of them invited him out, and he was going to. He said he was just going to go have fun with them.
Wait, were they like too tall?
I never met them.
Do you remember a name?
Not off the top of my head. I can remember.
Okay, so here's what happened at my party. It was super fashionable. Everybody looked great, right?
Okay.
All of a sudden, these two tall, I don't know what's the same kind of gross ink smell going on. Mm-hmm. They barge in and like it's a whole fight, and I had to like almost blow up my house. Okay, I didn't really have to, but I did because reasons. But still, like you get it. So
Unwelcome guests.
thank you,
No.
thank you. And I look over. See, thank you.
No, that's very common Fey logic. I don't know why anyone would doubt that.
I don't get it. But like everybody was like, "Oh, you shouldn't have done a fireball in your house." But like,
It's your
yes, I
house.
should
If you wanna
have.
do the fireball, then you do the fireball. It's
Right.
up to you.
So yeah, I think his two friends who he went to go get smashed with, I think they turned into what Bug turned into. And we killed him because, I mean, we had to, but in the same way that
Well, now I'm worried.
I just want to know, what did they eat or drink that turned him into, like, how did we go from this to that so quickly?
It's whatever foul curse befell Bug happened in relation to this. What does the other letter say?
I pull it open.
When you open the letter, you see that in it's a correspondence. It looks like it had been crumpled up at one point and possibly even thrown away, but it's now been smoothed out. And you see that on this it says at the top, "Dearest ally, the stage has been set. Let our game commence. I have sent pawns your way to do with what you will. In doing so, I hope that means that you will secure what I have asked of you. In doing so, I will reward you with power beyond even your station can imagine. Fail, and I will have fail and know that you will still find in me a friend. Yours truly, H."
Is it addressed to Bug, or is it just like addressed dear whatever?
It's
Dear
it's
ally.
in a very loose, sort of lurid script, and it looks like it had been scrawled hastily. Again, it appears to have been the letter was crumpled at one point, but now has been smoothed out and then folded properly in Bug's knapsack. The top of which, when you look at it, the roll everyone who I'm going to say another group investigation roll on our two mortals this time only.
Another investigation roll?
Yeah.
Okay.
Investigation or perception, whichever one you would prefer.
I got a 12.
20.
20. On that 20, you notice something about the seal. And for that, I'm going to give you a piece of scrap paper because I don't want everyone to know what this is.
Oh, the nosy part of me wants to
Yeah,
know.
because it's going to be up to him whether or not he wants to share what he recognizes on the seal.
He's doing this effort of writing it down, then he's just going to share it with us right away anyway.
David's never going to share. He likes secrets.
Actually, I read this story about this group that...
It's not about David sharing, it's about Yorick sharing.
Yeah.
David won't let Yorick share.
That's what my character would do.
Actually, can I ask you guys to roll a perception check for me?
Yes.
And I'm going to roll it against my deception check.
Yeah, go for it.
I like to imagine I'm just like tagging along. I'm just gonna...
23.
Ooh, okay.
I get to know. I get to know.
Which one am I rolling?
Perception.
Perception. I was thinking insight for some reason. Perception, 17.
17. I did.
What? Ah,
24.
24!
man.
No, but I would say that you do notice, because he wouldn't be able to hide the pause
Yeah.
when he looked at it. And I just folded. I don't say anything.
Is this some shadow player business? Oh my God.
Rosalind, we haven't had time to discuss what happened when you touched the ink in your party. What happened?
I mean, like, I touched it and then I just felt super weird later. You know, like, just weird. You know, like,
I want to roll
I
a
can't-
perception against your deception right now.
All right.
Play your roles. Play your roles.
PvP breaks out.
I got a 13.
Yeah, no, I rolled a 9.
Got it.
No, I was like, okay.
I don't know, just like, like you kind of like just like there's a void kind of like when you sleep too long and then you wake up and you know you had a dream but you don't remember what the dream was about. Like it just felt like that.
Weird whispers from the Dark Lord, and
No big deal.
You paused. You cried.
Well, because that feeling is a weird feeling. Who wouldn't cry about that? Ew.
It just seemed familiar to me. That's all. I'm going to turn back to the bugbear.
Yeah.
The bugbear? Yeah, I'm going to turn back to the bugbear. I'm going to tell her that whatever you decide to do with the remains of Bug, be sure that no one touches what he has become
Yeah.
with exposed flesh.
We've the caravan master spoke with me about it. There will be a service in the morning. We're fortunately back home, so anywhere is where we need to be here.
Say, if you have any further information of how Bug may have come into possession of these invitation, of this letter, is there any...
Like I said, he seemed on that day, whenever he had apparently gone to this party, or was supposed to, he seemed a bit anxious, but he said it was just because he wanted to impress his new friends, and he... Oh, I do remember he came back early. He said that they went and they had only gotten a few drinks, but something came up, and they had to leave. And they offered to invite him, but he said that he had drank too much and needed to come home, which, admittedly, whenever he came back, he seemed perfectly sober, but...
I think then the biggest question I have is just how long the transformation takes. Because we saw it happen so quickly here, but if he did something at our party or didn't make it to my party, but his friends did in turn, what did he do that would kick in? Why was it faster for them and not for him? Maybe because he's backstage now? It's slower?
Or there's a trigger.
Is there a punishment for not doing what was asked as he's an ally?
Would I have seen that letter as well?
What's up?
That letter? Would I have seen it? I figure I'm just kind of tagging along. But
you would have. Rosalind would have read it. Did you read it out loud?
I read it out
Yeah,
loud.
she read it out loud.
Excuse me, apologies. My name is Moth. I know I've been kind of not talking, but did he have a friend that started with an H?
He never gave me their names.
He never talked about any of his friends with H's
Well,
names?
he talked about his friends, but the ones from that night, he never gave
Well,
me
what
their
about
names.
other friends? What about it does not have to be those friends. Just in general, maybe someone that thinks they're really important.
For real, y'all got to get in each other's business.
What part of the Fae-
You don't understand. It's a little bit different. You don't have to be all up in business, but you talk about friends sometimes, So
mortals tend to... You all seem rather joined at the hip, as it were. We're far more relaxed whenever it comes to our personal histories.
I mean, we kind of have to be.
Fair enough. I
they live so
suppose
short.
the friends with the name H. There's Hugo, the strong man, but he's not self-important at all, and I don't even think he can read.
There are so many people who don't know how to read, who are like in weird positions of power. Trust and believe.
How about one that maybe isn't here in the caravan?
Not that I know of.
I'm trying to think of every possible name. No.
How about if they're how do I put this? Not so the mortals. They have this weird thing where they have titles instead of names. So, can you think of someone that may have called themselves something with an H, like a performer or a special name that isn't their real name?
Nope.
We humans, we really do like aliases.
Not that I can think of. Nothing with an alias or anything like that. Not that he would have told. Not that he told me of. And even I've tend to keep to myself here at the caravan. I like seeing the performances and exploring the mortal worlds, and knowing that whenever I want to, I can come back here if I so choose. It's very simple work, and honestly, it's kind of nice. It gets very chaotic here in the Feywilds, and I do miss it sometimes, but other times it can just be a lot. But maybe that's because I've been living here. I've been living amongst mortals for so long.
So you come to the mortal realm for some peace when it's wowzers.
It's far more predictable.
Fairies.
When was the last time you
Far
looked
more
at
predictable than the
Fairies.
Feywilds.
I just throw my hands up. I'm like, oh my god.
some people like the simple life of humans, so it's a bit different.
All of your you humans make the world try to make as much sense as possible. That's what you strive for.
Yeah.
Your songs follow patterns. You have written scripts. You create cities that are based off of grids and make sense with the natural flow of the land. That's not
We try.
how things work here.
That's it. As she's describing all of that, Moth just looks disgusted. Like the idea of all of it, and she just said, just like, ugh. Weird question. If I look at the letter, this is gonna sound weird, but does the paper tell me anything? Because it's one of those things. It's like, especially people can prepare their paper, prepare their script kind of differently. Like, is there like anything gives away like, hey, this feels like Roman papery or something to that effect?
Right.
Is there Roman numerals?
Roll nature with disadvantage.
Damn it.
Because it's an artificial thing, but you're looking for the natural in this thing's artificial nature.
Nature. I don't think I have very good nature. Actually, 17 technically.
17 is not bad. Anna 17, which I think that was with disadvantage. Where'd it go?
I rolled a 15 and a 12, and I have a +5.
+5, yeah.
Nice.
On that nature roll, you recognize that this paper, one definitely comes from Mortal Realm trees. Wouldn't have been logged here.
It's too boring.
Too boring for it to be like that. So the paper's not magical in nature, as you could make from that. In addition, how does this? God, how would I'm like trying to think of like, is there a piece of information that I can give that you would actually be willing to be able to glean off of this paper?
Without giving away too much.
Without giving away too much, and I'm just like I'm struggling here to be if there's anything. It's high quality paper. This isn't paper that you would get at like a local bookbinders or from a standard run of the mill paper mill. This paper most likely belongs to an individual that comes from money. In addition, the size of the paper is of a standardized size that that mortals are fond of, especially if they use it in schooling.
It's Rosalind's dead. I guess I was like, I recognize this paper. I feel like I've seen it in the Queen's Court before, but it's definitely not. It is definitely not Fey. This is definitely mortal paper. And it's fancy paper. This looks fancy to you, right? It is not.
I snatch it out of your hand, and I'm like, we gotta talk to my dad.
I was totally joking about your dad. That was a total. That was like a left field. Like I didn't. What did you actually say?
This is literally the same stuff we have at home, specifically in my dad's desk.
Yeah, it would probably.
I'm about to say, 'cause I was about to say-
if it's not the exact same paper, it'd be very close.
So this could be Director of Stars.
This could be
Paper?
somebody that is nobility somebody that has some money behind their name, because this is not the style of paper that you just get. Like,
It's not your dad's paper.
I know it's not my
It's not
dad's.
Director of Stars. This seal is from the House of Denmark.
Are you saying it's Hamlet's paper?
I'm saying the seal is from the House of Denmark.
But nobody in that house is like alive.
Neither is he.
Fair.
Literally, we talk about that all the time. Nobody in that household made it out.
And you could very possibly know more about it than I do. But the seal is from the House of Denmark.
Signed with an H. Wait a second. Who else is still in the House of Denmark? Why is the House of Denmark? This is so, my head hurts.
I'm going to talk to, what was the bugbear's name? What was her name?
She never gave you guys one.
Okay.
Wow, nobody asked.
If
No, I just went in straight
if somebody
compliments.
Went
if
straight
somebody
in.
had asked, I suppose if you are asking, her name is Daisy.
Daisy.
What a spectacular name.
I'm going to say Daisy for a short moment. I was
Aw. Your name matches you. You're so wonderful.
Yorick's going to sell Daisy for a short time. I was worried that I had brought danger upon you, but it seems that Bug had started this path before our arrival. Please, stay safe. And if you can think of anything else that may help us, let us know. I'm just going to kind of turn and walk away.
Yes.
I pull a snail out and put it under her shoe and walk away.
Oh, thank you so much.
Daisy, if you need help with the laundry, I will totally help. Just call me. I'll be with them, but I'll come back anytime.
You're very bad at it, but thank you for I appreciate it.
I'm learning. It's totally not my wheelhouse.
It's fine. She while you're talking, she like uses her off foot to like undo the slipper, and then uses her foot to grab the snail that like he left on her shoe, and then slowly brings it up to her mouth and eats it while still talking to you and maintaining eye contact. Like it's just the most natural thing in the world.
Daisy,
and puts the slipper back on.
That is really disconcerting.
Fairies. What do you want?
Yo, I gotta get used to this.
At least somebody's civilized.
Since we got a little bit of time before we move again, I'm just going to kind of look for a place that maybe we could sit and talk where it's just us.
Yeah.
If you want, I'm going to say if you would like to find a place
next
to
to
go
the
and talk.
dragons.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a section that you guys make your way out, and the caravan master sort of like takes you over to a section that he's separated out for you guys. And he's like gussied it up, and it's a little bit nicer. And he says, I recognize that we've got you on as hangers on for, reasons. But I appreciate what you've done today. I saw Daisy smile. I didn't think that would happen today.
She's magnificent.
She's wonderful, and I would be lost without her. Makes a absolutely killer streusel too. So good.
I don't know if I want her cooking for me, but
Oh,
yeah.
it's so good. I'm not even. We had to like tell her what stuff mortals can't eat, but once we like gave her that list of things we can eat, knocks it out of the park every time.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so for that, you all have my thanks, and so he like brings you. He just like basically points you at like this large tent, further off to the side. I know you guys probably have some stuff to talk about, certain like SP things. So I'll go ahead and leave you guys to it while I go and prepare for a funeral.
Do I still have my
Sorry.
pig with me?
Hmm?
Do I still have my pig with me?
Yeah.
Cool. Making sure.
Yeah. So I just kind of want to. Yorick's kind of quiet until we get a chance to sit.
Are we going to talk about this thing?
Yes. Yorick says, I've been given a task by the Shadow Players, and I have been taught to stick to the script, and I have been amazed at what is seeming to unfold for me, and I don't know why, but I trust the script.
Do you ever think that maybe you might have to deviate from the script now and then? I'm just throwing that out there.
We stick to the script. We embrace the shadows. We seek the truth. We protect the innocent. We challenge authority, and we serve the greater good. I was told that my role is to find you, Moth, and I have, which led us to you, Rosalind, which led us here. Now hear me out. I once served in the House of Denmark. I was a young, bright-eyed bard at Bard College, top of my class, which is where I was approached by the Shadow Players. My first assignment, being the top of my class, was a courtly appointed to the gesture of the King of Denmark. Eventually became the caretaker of young Hamlet.
Shut up.
Yeah. But that's all I know.
Oh.
Between then and now, at some point, what I was told is I had gotten message to the Shadow Players that I had uncovered something big. But before I could divulge to them what that was, I was beheaded.
Oh, that sounds like a rough day.
Only to be resurrected years later into what you see now. They needed the information I had uncovered, but it's gone.
Sounds like there was something rotten in the state of Denmark.
Ladies and gentlemen, good night, everybody. Mwah! We got there.
Yes, indeed.
All right,
Sorry.
back to serious RP because this is enthralling.
I love it.
Well done, Mom. Well done.
But no, the information is gone. The memories, more than just the information, is gone. I have no recollection, except that I've been brought back. I still have my skills, and now I use them to serve the Dark Script, the Shadow Players.
What, your human years are so confusing. What, so you remember playing with a young Hamlet,
Yes.
and then you remember at the time when you woke up. What was the last year in your human years that you remember?
Like number-wise?
Yes.
Yeah.
No. As Hamlet was young, just young, spoiled, impetuous prince.
I feel like I would even have heard of him. Would I have heard of Hamlet? At least, like, I don't probably would
Yeah,
know
you
the
would.
story,
You would
but I would have heard the name.
The story of the House of Denmark is one that got back to the Fae courts definitely.
So
The
far-reaching.
story of like the of essentially just like a night of slaughter where the entire household, along with its retainers and several other like family friends, were all just found dead on the grounds. And somewhat mysteriously as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I've heard the stories. I know what happened. My death was some time before that.
Oh.
So I guess my thought is, how many years between your last memory? Because you don't remember dying, correct?
I don't.
So there is a possibility that you are alive and you don't remember time when you are alive. So what is the last memory you have versus the next memory you have? And what does
Well,
that time gap?
I've just received information that I didn't know. And I was told that I was in the process of training Hamlet to be a Shadow Player.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. What?
That's it. That's all I have.
So you were going to train young Hamlet to become a Shadow Player, even though he was Prince of Denmark and was set if his uncle hadn't have like made the boss moves that he
Well.
made. I say boss loosely with sarcasm because that's super gross.
He says, well, that's the thing. I remember him young. Something happened. Life happened. I don't have those memories. I don't know what led me from training this brat, because that's what I remember.
Oh, well, the rumor is that So his dad was killed by his uncle, and his mom married his uncle. And so if he was a young brat when you knew him, rumor was he was a complete jerkwad. And like acted out all the time, threw a fit, whatever, was betrothed to Ophelia, was so rude and horrible to her that she killed herself. This is all rumor and speculation, by the way. I don't actually know these things, but it makes its way through because when all this stuff happened with my cousins, oh my gosh, they were comparing our house to the House of Denmark, even though we're not royal.
And so I've heard the rumors too. I've heard the stories as well, and that story tracks with what I remember. But it's what's in between then and now that I have lost.
When you woke up, were you alone or did somebody wake you up?
It was the members of my shadow players.
Now,
How did they wake? What was the process for them waking you up?
That's beyond the questions I seek to understand.
now I know that you stick to script and all that, but is there a chance that they take memory? That there is memory there, but they hide it from you? I mean, they brought you back and you are a skeleton, so, you know, the bit that holds the memory isn't there, I assume? I don't see it through holes?
I will be honest with you, Moth. There have been times of doubt when I have lacked in my faith to the dark script, when I wondered these same things. But the ones that brought me back seemed just as disappointed about memory loss as I was. The information they needed from me was not there.
Would I have some sort of fey, magic-y thing for memory jogging? Kind of fey. I want to use a word I'm not allowed to use in the library public.
Do you have Dispel Curse?
I almost added it,
Yeah.
and I put Summon Fey instead.
Yeah. No. Then that's.
I've Counterspell.
That's no.
Kinda the same
Dispel
thing.
Curse is going to be the closest thing that you'd be able to use to
Can we have
help
a short rest?
with his. That is true. You are a warlock.
That's what I'm saying. Can I take a short rest?
Is
there
this
is a
not a
thought.
short rest?
There has been time where a short rest could have occurred. If you want to, I could allow that if you wanted to. If you wanted to go ahead and knock one of your spells and put in Dispel Curse as an option.
Oh, we got it.
And then I need to hear what the wording is specifically for Dispel Curse because I think it works.
I think that Yorick would also speak to Rosalind and say, Rosalind, I didn't mean to intrude on anything personal about what happened when you touched the ink, but there was a look in your eye when it happened that just reminded me of a feeling I can't shake.
The feeling when you can't remember something, but like something really important happened.
Yes.
Let me double check. Let me do some GM stuff real quick.
Sorry.
Have you ever thought of finding the people who brought you back and I guess figuring out why they brought you back? Or did you just jump into action and just say like,
No, they
I'm on
brought-
a mission?
I was brought back for the information that I had, but it wasn't there. As I said, they were just disappointed at my lack of information as I was.
Yeah.
And
Spell
so
is
in the
remove
meantime, I
curse.
might as well jump back into
Spell is
action.
remove curse. Is the one that you need.
Okay, well, I guess the thing would be to ask like figure out like what is the information they needed.
Whatever it was I had uncovered.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, for instance, I really want to buy this fabric. I need to know where it's made. The only people who know where it's made are in point A, point B, and point C. Let me go to those locations, find out what they know, and then go from there, right? So, like, if they're trying to mine information from you, then the questions that they're trying to ask would be important, wouldn't they?
Possibly, but
And if they talk, we might be on a wild goose chase. This may not be Hamlet that we think of that wrote this note. And also, why would a dead guy want to suddenly, all I wanted to do is make some lipstick and make people pretty.
I don't know that it's Hamlet. I don't know that it would be, but the seal is of the House of Denmark, and I do not believe it is a coincidence.
This is wild.
It's the Feywild, actually.
Moth, you never
change,
ever
buddy.
stop pleasing me. You're a hoot.
The story I was told is that it took some time to find where my body had been buried.
Oh.
It was in the pauper's grave, the mass grave.
If your body's in a pauper's grave, you done did something to make somebody mad.
Thus, the removal of my head. I had been executed and buried in the pauper's grave. And
You did something to royalty.
when Digger found me, he exhumed my body, and they did what needed to be done, and here I am.
What did you do?
Or what did I know? What did I find out?
Wouldn't it be kind of funny if you knew something and it's the whole reason all of this is happening? Like, wouldn't it be hilarious? Wait, no, it wouldn't be. Oh my gosh. Why don't I have that? Okay. So we need to figure out the source of this letter, and we need to figure out how these three, you might as well say, including Bug, R.I.P. Bug, we need to figure out who put them on this path.
Well, here's what I have so far. Not only the source of the letter, but the recipient of the letter. H called the recipient ally, and they were using the pawns, which we assume were Bug and the two at your party.
His two party posse members,
We
right?
know that there is Malvolio involved, who we are on our way to find, and perhaps this letter was addressed to him.
If you would mind, we've taken a short rest here, and I realized that. Can I try something on your head slightly? It may bring back. I do have remove curse.
You do have remove curse?
I was looking for dispel curse.
Huh?
I was looking for dispel curse.
Yeah, no,
so
it's
it's
the
remove
spell
curse.
is
Remove curse.
and it removes a curse from a
Okay.
or from a willing object or creature.
Yeah, I wish to try this thing on your head. It may tickle a little bit, but it may unlock things.
Ooh.
Or it may spur out extra eyebrow. It's 50-50. So
I'd love to have an eyebrow. I'm going to pull my whole hood off and
God.
just expose.
I hate when you do that. It's like
actually, I also dropped a second spell, and I can't remember which one it was.
skeleton head. Oh my lord.
Okay. I will. I'll put my hand on the middle of his forehead, and I will cast remove curse.
Okay.
That I knew the whole time. I didn't have to have a short rest for.
Warlocks.
Hey, I was ready to start switching out skip spells.
But
so
did we
you
take a
good.
short rest? Because I got my bardic inspirations back. Okay.
Short rest
I mean,
party?
you were sitting here talking for like an hour, and that
Yeah.
counts as a short rest.
It does.
So,
It
yeah,
counts
you
for
can totally
me.
change out your spells if you want to.
Love it. Thank
Um,
you.
So on that short rest, you fiddle. You do fairy stuff at his head. What fairy stuff do you do at his head?
I wanted to end up with a whole Dia de los Muertos art.
I
have
was
to paint
just
my head?
about. I kid you
Tight.
not. I kid you not. I was about to say I pull out my red and green crayons.
Yes.
I'm not even joking. So yeah, I was about to say I bring out red and green crayons. I bring out a stick that has beans in it, a rounded bean, and I drew. Basically I get the whole Dia de los Muertos kind of
Yeah.
looking thing.
Calavera.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I start. I take the stick and I start kind of like mumbling, walking around. Sorry, I think I just cut off the mic right there. For some reason, doesn't talk when I do this. And I just chant for like 5 minutes straight, and then I turn. I'm like, okay, I did not need to do any of that, and I just touch his head, and it works. Yeah.
He smacks your head, and you are standing in the Royal Palace of Denmark. You suddenly are teleported there, and you're looking around. And you see you. Younger, still alive, handsome face.
Damn, I look good.
And you see you were standing in essentially this hallway, and you're turning towards a open room. It looks like it's sort of a gymnasium. and you are in full fencing gear. And across from you, there is another swordsman wearing their mask. You, however, are masked off. And they are lunging at you. And every opportunity, you flick, 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 until eventually you wrap him on the head. And this other you says, "You're too slow. You need to be less predictable in your attack patterns." And this... and now we'll put you back in those shoes. And this person takes off their helmet, and you see a blonde, tousled head of a young Hamlet.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yorick, I know they're predictable, but I'm just trying to get the form down. Could you allow me maybe a hit in every once in a while to help me build up some confidence?
No, I have faculties? Yeah. Oh, fake confidence is no confidence at all.
Damn.
All right.
Roast.
Well, he sort of looks at the clock. Thank you for the training, Yorick. I have to go and make an appearance at one of Mother's parties. Ugh. Fortunately, Ophelia will be there, so that'll be nice. I'll have someone to talk to. Why is everyone so old? Who's old so boring?
I don't know. I don't know,
Doesn't
but
know
you're
something. What a shock! I've been looking for those words for years to come out of your mouth.
I don't know. But sometimes boring is in the eyes of the perceiver.
You and your sophisms. Fine. All right. Well, thank you for the lessons, old man. I'm going to go get changed and go woo my lady. Hopefully this time she won't slap me whenever I try to kiss her. I bid you adieu. And he sort of bows and walks his way out cockily. You feel a minor bit of annoyance. You've been trying to teach him that subtlety is an art, and his cocksure attitude will inevitably lead to his downfall. But you will admit that last thrust, you had to try to parry it in the end. It did catch you almost by surprise. He is getting better. So there's a little twinge of pride as well. At that point, you switch into your jester garb and walk out of the hallway. And when no one is looking, you press a tile on the wall, and the wall gives way. And you step into a hidden chamber. Inside, there are pictures posted of the walls, drawings that you've made of the various royals. And in it, you have a picture of a book. And you see a line from the current king going down to this book, and then crossing that is his brother's line going to the king's wife, and you're staring at it.
I've got a full crime board.
Oh yeah, you've gone ham.
Wow.
You're trying to piece it together.
I got yarn going.
On the table is a missive from the Shadow Players. They've told you that you're doing a good job keeping an eye on the family, and that's a report if you find anything. What you haven't told them is something wild. You have evidence to believe that the king has his hands on a folio. And not just any folio, one of the big ones.
Ooh.
And you're wondering, why hasn't he used it? What if he's got his hands on it? But you are pretty sure he's gotten various different business dealings. He's been making trips. There's been evidence of bizarre magical effects happening along the on the property. things like dead people suddenly showing back up, the geometry of the place not quite making sense. Like someone's basically, whenever someone writes in the folio, from what the research you've been able to gather, that causes these knock-on magical effects as the change occurs.
Point of order, real quick. Which king at this point are we talking about?
The OG
Okay.
king of Denmark, not Hamlet's uncle, his father.
All right.
So you think that he might be writing in it because that's the only way that. But whatever he's doing something small. He's not doing anything big. He's doing something very small. But you're pretty sure he's got his hands on it. And even though you think that the current king, as far as kings go, the shadow players find him not odious. He keeps to his bread and circuses. He stays out of the way so that way his chancellors and other wielders of the keys of power can do actual governments, can do that. Your actual assignment is and always has been his brother. He is ambitious. He is hungry. He covets his brother's wife and seeks to steal what his brother has. And so you have some fear that the reason why the Dark Script has directed you here is that what you're actually here is to stop any plans of ambition that his brother might have for the throne. Which is part of the reason why you decided to start training Hamlet. You recognize that the shadow players were thinking too small. The aristocrats aren't necessarily the enemy. If one was to have all of the funding and power of someone like Prince Hamlet, but the good common sense and heart of virtue that you have been trying to instill in him, they could do a lot of good in the world.
Yes, that and his very healthy disdain for people in power.
Like you recognize that there is potential
That's there.
There's potential there in training this kid, and if not making him, you've mentioned that you think that he is a good prospect. You've not told them of what the shadow players are, but you do think that someday, maybe whenever he reaches adulthood and finishes his schooling, you might clandestinely put a sack over his head, take him to an abandoned theater, and indoctrinate him into the organization that you are a part of.
That is aggressive. Yikes.
Neil Pledge.
You.
It
Shadow player
is
paddle.
at
Right?
this point when you have you're looking at this board. You've brewed a cup of coffee. You're sitting and sort of staring at it, trying to take it all in. When you see the pattern, the lines come together, and you recognize that you've made a mistake. Folio's not in the king's hands. It's in his brother's hands. You rush up, recognizing the danger that everyone is suddenly in. He's been subtle so far. All the slight changes and everything, the patterns that they've laid in the magic, the points of position that they're in, you recognize you've put it all together. There's been a change in the cook to a relative on loan, someone that you now realize could easily be put in the pocket of a well-to-do brother. You recognize that the king has been gone away multiple times, having to go to the far fringes of his kingdom in order to stop potential rebellions or upstart princes from running trouble, meaning that his wife, who has been lonely, a smooth-talking prince might be able to garner favor with her. So that way in the future, if anything could happen, she might be open to doing things, what is necessary for the kingdom, after all, creating stability. You see a young Prince Hamlet has been accepted into a prestigious school in London, far away, and would not be able to return because of the backstage for some time. You You recognize that all of the various vassals that have been loyal to the king have all either taken ill or have retired, and new positions have been made. Over the past 5, 6, 7 years, you now recognize that in this moment, in this day, there is a chance that any day now, the good king could be dead.
I can't believe I missed this.
Yeah.
This is so much worse than I thought.
What are you going to do?
I got to get word to the Shadow players.
Yeah.
I got to let them know that something big is going. I can't even have time to put all this down. I've just got to contact them and get somebody here to see this. So
You
yeah.
rush up, get out of your chair, close the door behind you. When you turn the corner, you see Hamlet's uncle, flanked by 6 guards, walking down the hallway. He points at you and he says, "Get him. He's the one that tried to poison the king." It's a mad chase. You scale the towers. At this point, Hamlet, the king, and the king's wife are not on the property. They have taken a boat out into the harbor for the party that the mother is throwing. Only the king was here. He lets off some duff whenever your head's on the chopping block about how you knew that you were going to end up coming for him. And that's the players' jobs are to do what the director asks for. And then the axe hits your neck. And then you wake up in a grave plot, Digger standing over you, your skull in his hands as he places it back on your body. "Yorick, can you hear me?" And then you're back in the tent with Rosalind and Moth.
So I think I probably went still for a minute after you smacked me in the head.
Well, what happened?
And then probably the most unsettling thing ever would be a skeleton gasping. Back to life.
Ugh.
Moth. It worked.
You remember? See, that's very good.
Yeah. So what happens next?
You're going to think this is funny.
Please tell me that like you slipped and fell in something and that's how you died. That would be hilarious.
No, but you said it would be funny if this was all connected, and it is.
Shut up.
You just told me you know the story of Hamlet, so I'll convey to them everything that I put together and how I put it together. And as soon as I figured it out, he spun around and pinned the king's poisoning on Yorick.
Oh, Yorick, that's horrible. I'm so sorry. Also, I just want to take a moment because I rarely get a chance to say this. I was right about something.
He says all of that had been gone. All of it had been gone.
Wow. Okay.
Years. That was years.
Do you have any sense of now that block is gone? Do you have sense of what put block there? Do you have a feeling there should be a feeling down by neck? Maybe it should smell maybe like who put it there?
It wasn't done before my death. I saw my own death. But I do, with my head on the block, the last line delivered to me was that it is the director's job to tell the players what to do. This was by the king's brother,
But he's dead.
but not when it happened. He had a folio, maybe the folio. If not the folio, then Denmark's folio. It's how he was able to get everything he thought he wanted to begin with, and
Do you have his name?
yeah, somewhere. What's the?
That's a really good.
Claudius.
Claudius. There you go.
Claudius
So
is the
yeah,
name.
it is no
of
H.
the-
Yeah, it's not H. No.
But if Claudius is dead, so who would have it now in order to make those changes, if any changes? And how is Claudius connected to Malvolio?
Well, at this point, I think that the concept of death can't be a definitive for anyone. Having said that, I don't know if it's him in particular or he's the one that had the book and now it's in someone else's hand, but it's out there and it is connected.
What if somebody brought Claudius back from the grave, just like they did you, just so that he could have this? Wouldn't that be funny? Wait, I better not say that.
Yeah, you
Wait,
need to
hold
stop
on.
saying
Hold
that.
on. Hamlet, after. I may be fuzzy because we don't hear full details and it doesn't make sense, but Hamlet had a friend who lived, didn't he?
I feel like there might have been like one person who escaped. I don't see. We just got the rumors. We didn't get names. We just heard like everybody died. Don't be like that house.
I'm about to name him. Would I know the name? I just want to make sure before I actually say it out loud.
You roll history.
Okay, I just didn't want to say it out loud. History. Where are you? Oh, dang. 19.
19? Yeah, you would know.
It is that young man, Horatio.
Horatio.
Oh my goodness! It probably could have been Horatio. That name sounds familiar. It sounds like that's the. Again, we just hear in our kingdom and our community, all we hear about is like, oh, don't be like them. Everybody died. There might have been one, and the name got tossed around, but like without anything definitive, right? Like we wouldn't know, but it stands to reason, right?
Well, I mean, your young word, Hamlet, is again, from what I am told, I know death does not matter, but he did not make it. But Horatio did, and would he have had access to the stuff left over from the other dead people?
If
Who else
everybody's-
would?
Yeah, if everybody's, I mean, literally everybody's gone. So if you're the last man standing and the power players are dead, I mean, listen, if it were me, I would take the things and keep on trucking.
That's actually very possible.
Yeah.
What would Yorick's memory of Horatio be? How would he have viewed him?
You would have viewed Horatio as a very even-tempered boy, where Hamlet was filled with passion and a general disrespect of authority. Horatio was very mild-mannered and very willing to just go with the flow, and when told to do something, never really thought to question it too hard. You knew that he was in the pocket of his father, that if his dad asked him to do something, he'd be like, okay, Dad, and then do it.
Yeah.
The opposite of Hamlet, who at every turn, when told to do something, would go, why?
Yes. Yeah. Not darks. Not shadow player material. Blind rule follower. Horatio. Is that for?
The Shadow Players Pledge palette. Paddle. Yeah. That's great. Now I want to make a paddle that just says that.
Shadow players.
Commitment lives deep.
Stick to the script. That's what it says.
I think I can write that much in that.
Yeah.
I want the decorations.
Put on the other side. Etching on the other side.
Yeah. No. Horatio was a rule follower.
But what happens one day when you decide to not be? Like if the rule, what if one day you wake up and you decide the rules aren't exactly for you? You don't want to do those things anymore for whatever reason, good, bad, whatever. What if you decide that you don't want to follow those rules and you want to make your own rules? And now you have something in your disposal so that you can make your own rules, right?
And
Not just rules. Your own reality.
Right. Who wouldn't want to do it? Who wouldn't want to make a reality that they like for them? If everybody's gone, why not?
Read the letter. I'm going to ask Rosalind to read the letter again with the idea of H being Horatio. Out of curiosity, can we read it again? The wording of it?
Yeah. To my dearest ally, I have sent you 2 pawns. Know that even if you fail, I will still be your friend. Dearest H.
Didn't it say that I wrote that the game had commenced? Was something
Yeah,
about
game
that?
has commenced.
A game has commenced.
I love the idea that we're completely wrong and it's just driving
Yeah.
Jacob crazy right
Yeah.
now. He's like, you guys are left field. I forgot Horatio was a character.
I didn't forget.
He's like, that's actually not who. All right.
Yeah.
I never said it's not Horatio.
Yeah,
It can
no.
still
I
be
don't know, I'm just
but it's also
joking.
Not,
It's
not
that-
Horatio.
No, that's great. That's great. Yeah, no, it's a game. It's a game to someone. I don't know, but we'll go and find who we need to speak to.
It's a game. Like your mother drinking the boy. See?
No, Moth. It's not that kind of game. Oh, fairies. Also, don't do that to other humans. They don't like it.
I've learned that humans are boring.
I mean, we're a lot of fun in our own ways, but like not like that. But Horatio is not a fairy. He's human.
Do you know that for sure?
I'm going to take a wild guess and say he's probably very, very mortal.
Plot twist.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Moth, I knew that the dark script had. Thank you.
No problem. You look very pretty right now. You should keep the look.
I actually do really like this look on you. It's less disconcerting. It reminds me less of my own impending failure to breed as a human.
Fair enough. Well, Horatio, Hamlet, we'll just call them H for now, and we have a destination.
We know where we're going, so I will. By the way, just because I have to do something, I create a bonfire.
Yeah.
For us,
Yeah.
just to warm up, just to use a spell.
Yeah.
But I don't know if much more will be figured out tonight. He said we are going to reach tomorrow. He said morning, but if it is a funeral, probably figure late evening. Fae funerals are a bit different than normal funerals. So,
How are they different? Like, what do you guys do?
you see in distance where they got that big pile of food?
Uh-huh.
We eat big pile of food.
Oh, that's it? You guys just eat? Oh my Moth! If you tell me that you guys eat the body, I swear I'm turning around and I'm
That
going
is
home.
disgusting.
I don't know. Y'all are throwing me curveballs left and right in this fairy realm, and I would not put it. I have reptile eyes now, so I'm just saying anything's possible.
No, we
Could get rid of the reptile eyes for her. You know that, right?
Oh yeah, I have removed curse.
Yeah.
No, don't remove it. It's a style thing now. It's a style thing. I'll remove it myself later on, and I like them.
I'll tell you what. If you want, I can get rid of those. Or
No!
okay.
They're fine for now.
I can partially get rid of them if you like the double eye, but you don't like the slit. I can get rid of slit. And you
No,
can get double.
the slit's kind of it's kind of stunning. Let's just
Okay.
when we get back to Verona, if it causes a stir, I'll get rid of him, and if not, then we just keep him and we just look like this.
Okay. Moth likes to chant, and so they can do it anytime.
Thank you, Moth.
But no, funeral just take a long time. It is more like party.
Oh. But so then why can't can we go to that?
Well, yes, but it takes a long time.
Okay, you're based on that wacky clock that I looked at and what my concept of time is, I feel like it's probably like in human time, what, days? And fairy time, minutes, hours?
I pull out one of my own clocks and I just start calculating. I pull out a piece of paper and I start marking down.
Oh my.
I'm going to say it's Tuesday.
It's still Tuesday?
It's Tuesday.
Oh, so long ago. Across the whole sheet. pull up another one. Well, okay, so I don't know how to tell you this. Normal funeral? We'll say this is probably a bridge. Normal funeral is about a month and a half for you, but because we have a carnival, it'd probably be less. I assume. I forgot that you guys have these squishy times, so let us hope they have.
The concept of normal linear time
It's squishy.
being squishy time.
Squishy time.
It's squishy time. You
Not
have to
even
understand.
like timey-wimey. No, squishy time.
Squishy time.
They will probably have a bridge, small.
Okay, well, we don't have a month to figure this out.
Yeah, that's why Pile of Foods is so small.
I think this is all going to go down pretty rapidly. So,
Yeah, and Fey traditions respected. I'm not sure the ringmaster is going to wait a month to move his caravan on.
I get that.
And at that, we will go ahead and time skip a little bit.
Month and a half later.
right. Oh, my Lord.
A week later, he said, kind of joking, time works weird in the backstage, as the caravan leader explains the next morning, in that the world respects the traditions that are brought before it. In this sense, yes, the funeral will be an abridged version. It's gonna be like what feels like 4 days, but in the reality of linear squishy time that humans deal with, when the caravan stops its festivities and then ends back in Illyria, it will have only been like an extra 2 hours on the journey. You will have left Verona on what would have been like 2 or 3 days ago from the linear time in Illyria of if we were to match human to human calendars. If one was to launch a bird, it would, despite because of how fairy time works, it was approximately, you only added 2 hours as the crow flies, it were.
small abridged version.
How do you all sleep like this? It's doing my head in.
You say
Daisy
that,
sort
but
of
that was
looks at you from like a pile of like sausages she's sort of ferally like ripping into and going, sleep?
Yeah, it's immortal. Oh,
We don't need to. We do it when we want to. Is more of how it is, as she says, stuffing like her 4th kielbasa down her throat.
But you have to admit that was the best party you've ever seen in your life.
okay. The dresses alone.
Right? My dress was
Funeral
fantastic.
garb is kind of out there, but it's kind of slamming. I like to think that it's very 90s style puffer jackets.
It's giving me like a mix of like 90s streetwear, but also the Capitol from the Hunger Games. So
Yeah,
it's like this.
yeah. It's something along that, right? So you just got like guys
Shoulder
like,
pads, but
like
also
shoulder
puffer
pads
jackets.
going out like their funeral hats are like a Yankees cap,
But, like,
it's-
goggles.
but it still has the sticker on it, even like.
It's got the boy band goggles.
It's just like
Yeah, Yorick totally just transformed everything into an outfit from Chess King.
yeah, it's just like looking real good, guys.
Just
I like to believe I had to borrow another pair of shoulder pads from you, and I
Yes.
just took like part of one of your dresses, like just like cut like the bottom part
Yeah.
off.
Yeah. I'm rocking the heroin chic look in honor of this funeral for you, so happy to cut some of that off for you.
So after about a week's worth of fairy style partying in order to send off Bug, you end up making it to Illyria. You step out, and from the backstage, you step out from, essentially you see like a hedge wall and then like an arch, and then further down is a completely unlit dark road. And as you sort of take those first few horse footsteps past that, the light sort of begins to go from night to a dusk. And as you step out to Illyria's pastorals, you look around and you're suddenly hit with salt air and the crashing sound of waves coming up against the rocky coast as this road goes along the coastline similar to the actual Illyria. For those of you who are geography nerds, is a region near the Baltics that you know how Italy makes a boot go from like the top of the heel to like around the heel, that bit of water over there, and then on the right side of that's Illyria. That's like the region. Shakespeare's Illyria borrows the name and the geography type, but it's a completely fictitious country in this instance. And so we are now the smell of sea air. Now have this like open air ocean, the cause of gulls. You see some people tending to wheat. Some are herding goats as you're making your way down. It's very peaceful, almost idyllic, with the exception of the whole we're stuck in a perpetual cycle of just dawn and dusk thing. After about a few hours of travel up that road, you make it to the city of Illyria proper. At which point the caravan master says, well, we are going to go set up, and I believe this is where we part ways, I believe.
Oh, thank you for the adventure.
It's
I got used to having like daylight and evening, and I'm gonna miss you guys. Daisy, my girl, I'm gonna miss you the most.
We'll always have a home with us, dear.
Oh, thank you.
Yorick's talking to the clowns. Remember, feet shoulder width apart, juggling, good. Yeah, that's great. You've improved so much. Yeah. And he thumps the cigarette out of the leader's mouth. It's going to kill you, bud.
At which point it like flicks, and then you just see a smaller clown like come out from underneath his hat as he grabs the cigarette in air, and then like one puff knocks it down. Yeah. Blows it out, spells out "thank you," and then like goes back under the hat.
Now that's a good gag. That's a good gag.
Right?
Good
I'm
job.
working on it.
Yeah. Thanks for the ride, fellas.
As several of the other Fae just like are weeping, having to say goodbye to you, Moth. And they're just all sort of like moonwalking away as you like get together, like we're so sorry.
And I'm sitting there, I'm crying because I'm petting the pig. I'm like, you're really safer there. I will miss you. You are a mighty steed.
Oh, this is so sad. Sorry, Moth. Sorry you can't bring him with you.
It is okay. I'll steal him later.
Oh, okay. Fairy. I gotta get my head around this.
Gotta work on that fairy logic, hon.
I really do.
It'll get there. One day you'll break your boring and get into real logic, so it'll get there.
And so we stand outside of the gates of Illyria. Yorick, you know about Illyria.
Okay.
This does not look like the Illyria you remember from before you died. Illyria's colors used to be these like lovely teals with these sort of highlights of almost like a maroonish thing going on, and all of that has been completely stripped away and has now been covered in a gaudy purple. In addition, you notice that where once there had been reliefs of a faced sun, sort of a corona, if you will, and then bits of sea life and everything, all of that has been taken away, and you see the same bearded face along each bit of tile on the wall, and it is an older man with a sharp pointed beard and curled up very tight hair, all and just like looking very smug as the relief was stripped down on the wall. And you see just a bunch of like guards standing in these garish purple, very tight, very crisp uniforms. They are bright and they are clean, and they are all the more hideous for it. Because we're not talking a fun royal purple. It's like a bright, almost like magenta. And the lines and such sort of give the idea that they're supposed to look classy, but by someone who needed it to look special. Like, they couldn't just go off of a base already design of, like, what a clean, crisp military-style uniform needs to look like. They had to add in some extra flair in order to make it stand out.
This is disgusting. Who designed this?
You see, your guards could learn something. They look fantastic.
No.
That is authority.
This is tacky on tacky on tacky on tacky. I would never. Who's allowed? First of all,
Welcome
look
to
at this.
Illyria. Welcome to Illyria. Malvolio sends his regards. Please take a commemorative pan flip.
You hate your
Smile
job,
for
don't
the
you?
camera. And he sort of reaches his arm around. They all look, and then there's a guy that's standing there, and he just sort of like dead eyes starts drawing really, really fast. And then, like, as you're, like, all, like, sort of flabbergasted for a second, and then the guy rips off the thing and then hands it to you, and it's just the three of you
Just me
looking
making
confused,
this face.
and then this guy, and then the guy that's holding it with a big, gigantic, goofy grin on that was totally not there. And he's like, "Welcome to Illyria, where all your dreams come true."
Sir,
Yeah,
be real. You hate your job, don't you?
I love my job with a passion. To
I
not
see.
love it would be treasonous.
What if I were to tell you to come work at my house?
That would be great.
What if you didn't have to wear that god awful ugly garment? It doesn't even fit right. Did they even take your measurements? This is terrible.
Yorick is in his big handlebar mustache guise as he walks up, and he says, and speaking of, it's been a while since I've been here, but things seem to have changed up a little bit. That's a new uniform there. Yeah, who is this? And I point to the relief on the wall.
Malvolio. You didn't hear his whole speech about the Malvolio, blah, blah, blah. Listen, only a true villain would ever make somebody wear that. The disrespect. I feel disrespected just having to look at this.
I just look hurt. I'm like, I like the uniform.
Moth, you don't even like pants. Look at the pants.
Yeah, I wouldn't wear pants. I would wear the top without pants. You're right.
Oh my God. Let me guess. Malvolio doesn't pay you well, does he?
Malvolio doesn't pay me at all.
So you don't, what?
Getting to work for his household is payment enough. Also, I get free room and board, so there's at least that. And dental.
Oh my gosh. You need to come work at my
And
house.
he sort of stews off his teeth, and they're like
Beautiful.
Immaculate.
teeth. And he's like, I get my money's worth.
Oh my God, you need to come work at my house. At least we give full health and dental. And also you get paid and you don't have to work this.
That sounds great. Unfortunately, I'm rather happy with where I'm at. Don't worry, there's nothing you need to worry about. And he sort of just like palms you a like crumpled up piece of paper that just sort of whenever you like later whenever you'll leave him, you'll unfurl it and it says, "Shut up, I'm gonna get killed. Don't do that."
So Malvolio is like the coolest guy ever, right? Like,
He's so great and so much more handsome than Duke Orsino.
Cool.
oh no. Yeah, I mean, Malvolio sounds amazing, and this place looks amazing, and your garment looks fantastic, and you wear it so well, and I'm sure everybody's really happy here.
Everyone, especially his dear wife, Olivia.
Okay. Moth, York, come here. We have to be very careful going into here, which I'm sure you guys already were planning on being careful, but careful is not my first thing to do. But this man, if he's managed to marry, and he's managed to marry Olivia, he's got the portfolio. He's got the folio for sure.
All right. Well, let's just head in and keep her cool.
I'm gonna fireball this place.
Which part of keep it cool did you not understand?
I'm just letting you know that's probably my second option.
Well, I'll tell you what. You keep it on lock. Option 1, we keep it cool.
Option 3 is I will lightning bolt this place.
Fair enough.
Okay, let's go in.
So I'm getting such strong like Duloc vibes from this place. Like,
This is literally, welcome to Duloc. It's our favorite town. Here we have some rules.
I was
let us
like,
lay
well.
them down.
All right, so we'll head into.
It's a perfect place.
Yeah. Well, we'll head in.
As you head into the town, it's sloped and sort of goes off as it's basically surrounded on the edge of a cliff, with the castle that was formerly the castle of Duke Orsino is now at the very top, wherein Malvolio most likely resides. Along the ways, you are met by sparkling clean streets and everyone wearing very crisp outfits. None of them are wearing garish colors. They are all in grays and browns and deep navy blues and beiges. You see that all of the bookstores, as you pass by, are about 90% like religious and historical texts, and all of the fiction sections, as you're seeing, there's like stuff that you're like, there's not really a whole lot here. You see that there's sort of posts everywhere about, remember, cleanliness is next to godliness, and godliness is next to Malvolio-ness. And things of that nature. Remember, remember, don't pick your nose. Just things like that.
You can pick your friends, but don't pick your nose.
Yeah. You see that there is a designated area for dancing. It's about a 30-foot by 30-foot square off to the side of town, where people are allowed to express themselves. But otherwise, you see that all other signs say that there is absolutely no dancing and no singing allowed.
We need Kevin Bacon.
Why does everything look like a personification of a turd? And yet the guards have to wear that uglier than sin outfit, and nobody sings or dance. Oh my God, this place is a walking hellscape.
Yeah, it's weird. They say no dancing, but the guard was so nice and happy back there. I don't understand.
Oh, Moth. That's what humans do when we're not happy, but we want to make other people think we're happy. That's why I answered back and I was like, this place looks like it's really cool. It's not. It's called sarcasm. But like, there's professional sarcasm that we have to use sometimes so that we don't get in trouble. It's a weird human thing. Listen, if I had my way, I'd firebomb this entire place.
As you all walk in, you sort of peruse the town trying to find a... You're trying to make your way over when you see something on one of the walls.
Okay.
On one of the walls, you see a small patch of graffiti. It is the picture of a sort of cartoon skull with 3 little points coming off the top of it, and then little circles at the end of those points.
Yeah. I'm going to say, this way, quick. And I'm going to head over to where the sign would point us to, is the mark of the shadow players was put there on the wall.
As you do that, you sort of go from mark to mark to mark to mark along this way until you eventually see in a back alley near one of the like furthest south points of the city along the wall, close to the edge and within a blind spot wherein if someone was walking along the city's wall, they wouldn't be able to see unless they directly walked over to this corner, looked directly down, and even then there's an overhang coverage of essentially a slanted roof that prevents anyone from seeing anything.
Perfect.
You see a small ramshackle hut with a single purple doorknob with that is the face of a skull.
Okay. I would do the shadow player's knock.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. You shave and a haircut, and then you wait for just long enough that these other two are like, what's going on? And then eventually you get a because the longer you wait, the funnier it is.
I imagine Moth is driving him crazy, not finishing.
Yes,
the
they're
knock.
just sitting there like Roger Rabbiting, like
Yeah, exactly.
I got him. Two bits. At which point, you open the door, and you see a sort of like ramshackle group of about 5 or 6 individuals, and they sort of see you, and they notice the fake mustache and everything else, and they're like,
As soon as they looked at me and I was in the shadow of the door, I would drop it so they saw Yorick.
oh, jeez.
It's disconcerting every time, right?
Right, okay.
Every time.
Does he still have the crayon?
It's like smeared.
It's been a while.
Yeah. Are you, please tell me you're here to help.
I'm Yorick, the shadow players. These are my companions. May we enter?
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, let me come in and close the door.
Yeah. Well, we were hoping... How did you guys know to come here?
Oh my God, your city is wrecked.
Yeah, it's really bad.
It's terrible. Did you see what the guard was wearing?
Yes.
Oh my, y'all can't even sing and dance. Ugh.
It's
Ugh.
bad.
She doesn't even care about her personal mission anymore. She's just so pissed about these
pissed off.
I'm
guards'
so mad
uniforms.
about it.
I don't know what's happening. We keep sending out missives, try to ask for help from the shadow players, and we've gotten nothing for like 2 years.
2 years.
2 years.
It's 'cause they keep missing.
We keep on trying to send out a missive that says, hey, things are bad, send help, so we can start working on a plan to get rid of the big purple jackass.
Are your messages being intercepted? There's been no response.
There's been no response. So
What if somebody is stopping the message from going through? Malvolio.
I think that has to be it. If that's the case, then our theory is pretty much proven true then.
Ooh, put me in, coach. Put me in.
Do share.
I'm just thinking, like, okay, anybody who has this level of gaudiness from when you walk in tells me that, like, it just takes a little aristocratic charm, and maybe I can get in there and find out how these messages are getting stopped. It's like I'm shadow player light, like diet shadow player,
Shadow-ish.
shadow-ish,
Definitely
dim light player.
not a bad plan. Let's begin by sharing information. I would love to hear your theory, and I believe that what is happening here is exactly what brought us here, and our paths have crossed for this reason. Whether your message received or not, help has now arrived.
We're pretty sure Malvolio got his hands on a folio.
Malvolio's got the folio.
Yeah.
Hey, it's a new jam.
We had worked out a plan to bond to wealthy houses. Duke Orsino had not taken a permanent lover for a long time, and we originally thought he would be a good match for Olivia.
He's supposed to be.
However, we realized that the two of them had aspects of the character that, frankly, were not a match. Orsino was roguish, never really took much care for his studies, and Olivia was a patron of the arts. She would seek an artist. Fortunately, Sebastian and his sister Viola were on vacation along the coastline. A little bit of bad seamanship here, waiting for a perfect storm there, and suddenly we have two well-to-do aristocrats away from home without access to their funds, desperately needing to lead on the help of someone similarly stationed. and so we had orchestrated a plot in order to get Orsino with Viola and Sebastian with Olivia.
Right.
Thus allowing for two houses to become stronger, both of which tempered by the twins, who, despite their political upbringing, are known for being extremely virtuous and extremely caring for the common folk. And what's more, the goal of the Shadow Players had been to make Illyria a place for the arts. So much song, so much dance. It's almost Christmas, and there's not even any trees up anymore.
It's so sad and drab.
We don't know what happened, but at some point in time, Malvolio took control of the city. He wedded Olivia, and Sebastian, Viola, and the Duke went missing. We have no idea where they are. We have theories that they're hopefully still alive. I don't know why. It seems like it would be easier to just kill them, but maybe for some reason, he wishes to keep them alive. And they have done so. We hope, at least. But since then, he's wielded them dramatically. Over the past 2 years, every single time we've sent someone to try to do everything from just breaking him and Olivia up, to instituting a coup d'etat, to even just getting rid of some of the HOAs in the area.
Oh my God, there's HOAs?
I want to kill this man now.
It's terrifying.
It's literally this is the only neighborhood that doesn't have one enforced.
The hell you live in?
It's been rough.
Oh my God, I'm so
been
sorry.
rough.
My heart goes out to you.
And so every single time we've tried to do something, it's stopped as if by magic, some miraculous circumstance has occurred. The coup d'etat failed because the poison was never properly delivered, / the political malcontent that we had decided to back suddenly slipped and cracked their head on a desk, or the HOA ended up increasing in power because we filled out the wrong box in the ballot initiative. How? There was over 2,000 forms that we had to fill out. How did we get every single one wrong? I don't understand. At a certain point, I thought we were just incompetent, right? I thought maybe we were all just bad at our jobs. And then suddenly a new theory popped up. Somehow, this, frankly, nerd got his hand on one of the most powerful magical artifacts that one can have in the world, and is using it to be a petty tyrant in a tiny little city-state off of the coast of nowhere.
I got news for you. It's worse than that.
It's not confined to only here.
Oh, no.
But I
Hi.
haven't seen it quite this bad anywhere else yet.
We're in Verona and it's always dusk.
You think that he's in charge of the reason why that's happening? Oh.
But he may not be the reason, but it may be connected.
It might be connected, yes.
The folios have been at play in all the worlds, in all the realms, on all the stages.
Basically, he's messing with stuff that he doesn't know how to mess with, and it really has a super negative effect on like other things.
I would probably call that. That makes sense. Okay, right.
Question. Have you been outright announcing your plans?
No.
Like, I mean, even just speaking them out loud.
Oh, yes, we have to plan.
I mean, you didn't really even check our IDs.
You really didn't. You just told me all of your business. I mean, he could be faux shadow players. Listen, I'm all about transparency
He has
too.
a skull for a head.
Magic. I mean, he is a shadow player, but I'm just simply saying it could have not been.
We double checked. No one here is a spy.
So my point is that if you have somebody who has a folio who can make changes at will, then you kind of have to go a little bit more stealth than you normally would have.
Perhaps, but we aren't exactly sure how changing the folio works. It could be that it happened, and then it was unwritten, and then it happened, and it was unwritten. You could have been successful and just had your successes unwritten. There's no way to know.
The only way to know is to literally get the folio from him.
That seems to be the only cause that I can think of, is to get it, but we've been understaffed, unmanned, and
Hi.
honestly,
We're here.
the castle is a damn fortress.
No. This is our task. This is my script. This is why we're here.
Okay.
No one should have to live with an HOA.
Nobody should have to wear that and live with an HOA. Oh my God.
I just love that we all fight it for the worst reasons.
It's like terrible.
He's in here for noble reasons to stick to the script.
I don't like their
HOA.
outfits.
No, forget the apocalypse, all right? We have
No.
to do it because I was told to, because HOAs are a nightmare, and because the guards' uniforms are ugly.
Yeah.
Welcome
We
to
all-
D&D, folks.
We all have our motivations.
Yes.
Listen, I just think, based on what I saw when we walked in, it seems like Malvolio loves a good bit of flattery. If he's married Olivia, who, by the way, was like fashion icon, like stellar icon, if he nabbed her, he definitely rewrote his story. Because did you see that mug? No. So, let me see if I can work my aristocracy magic.
How much does does Moth know about this area? Because one thing is like bugging me as a personal person, but I want to know if he would have thought about it. Just the fact that Marvolio was all about, like, he was black. That's all he wore, black outfits, and that's it. He was very, because that's right, you're right. If I'm recalling right, he was very like Puritan, black and
Yes.
white. That was like a big part of his character. Every time you see him on screen or
Yeah.
on that's his whole
Puritanical.
thing. So now that
Yeah.
he's wearing this garish
Well, his guards
purples. But he would have demanded it to be there and everywhere else. And so, like, would Moth have that, or would that just probably be past him?
No, Moth would clock that. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Or roll history to see if you know enough about Malvolio from like the stories to be like, yeah.
I'm really glad my history's okay. I don't know how I did it, but 18.
Yeah, on an 18, you do think it's quite odd that it's like the rest of the town makes sense, but why are the guards this ugly, bright magenta purple?
I'm gonna guess Olivia had something to do with that.
So let me ask just real quick, because even this Marvolio has reached the Queen's Court a little bit, but do you think maybe we are too quick to put it on Marvolio? Because from what I hear, he was very boring in color, and he was very the strength checks out, but the colors is just what bugs me, because those colors outside are magnificent, and he was always in just like black and white and in almost like as they say, pilgrimy kind of boring garb. So why would the man that wants everything to be boring and drab make these bright colors that are in your face? That is what disturbs me a little bit. Now, any man that wants HOA, he's dead, in my opinion. But it is. Do we know it is Marvolio, or is there someone that is using Marvolio?
Well, I suppose we get in and find out.
I feel like anybody who made that choice should die by a hand.
She just kicks in the door. She's like,
Yeah.
who designed these uniforms?
These are horrible.
Yeah.
You have no sense of taste.
Well, you're accessible. We are well into the days of Christmas. There will be parties. Is there something that we
Oh, I
could
do love a good
infiltrate?
party.
It's your time to crash a party.
Oh, I've never crashed a party. I've always been invited.
It's not bad.
I mean, you
Do we
put a
still ha-
fireball at your own party. It feels a bit party crasher.
They were attacking my party and they showed up uninvited. You guys, you can't just walk into a party uninvited. Where's that little paper? Hold on. I'm gonna forge an invitation.
Well, I don't know. I would talk to the players that are here. They got their thumb on the stuff. There anything coming up? Anything big at the central
Yes.
place? What would be the best way to infiltrate,
The best way to infiltrate,
or the best time? I guess the best. Yeah.
time will be in 2 days' time during the Christmas Eve celebrations.
Oh.
You are.
Olivia does hold sway with Malvolio, and one of the things is that all of the parades and stuff have all been canceled, but she has demanded that Christmas, as the Lord's Day, should be properly celebrated. And so there is a Christmas Eve ball that is handled, that everyone is allowed to, they cannot decorate beforehand, but they are allowed to decorate the day of. there is a massive ball where the city's aristocracy will all be going at the castle. This is the one day of the year where the castle gates are opened for the public to come in and out.
Looks like we're going to a Christmas party, folks.
It says if we need to, I can definitely be disguised as your sidekick and follow your lead. And if we need to, I can even allow Moth to be invisible.
Moth should be seen.
Moth, you have to wear pants and shoes.
You're not wearing pants? I can rock that.
Oh, Moth, baby, if you go walking in like a little mini dress, I personally love that style, but I'm sensing that's a bit more conservative with Malvolio. So, pants and shoes, buddy.
He literally like falls back on the ground, just spread.
I know. I
Fine,
know.
kicks his foot.
I know, honey. I know. We're gonna get you some really comfortable pants and shoes, though.
Not going to be happy about it.
It's-
But I'll wear it.
it is only for long enough for us to get some information and or snag the folio.
And maybe, not to touch on the sort subject, we haven't addressed this yet, but you may need to somehow, for the time of the party, not wear your homemade wings.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Moth. Yeah, honey, it's gonna be eye catching, and we want to be eye catching in the right way, but not in the fairy way.
You know, I used to have real wings. I take them off and I just look just so sad.
I'm just gonna slowly take them from you and just hold and like kind of fold them like the two wings together. I know, buddy.
Oh, my real wings back.
Well, you know what? Maybe if we go ahead and get this situated, we can get you some real wings, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Sets the wings down.
And with that, the planning begins in earnest. And I will say that is going to wrap it up here. We know where we're supposed to go. We have a plan, or at least the beginnings of one, and this will give our players time to further scheme as to how they can sneak in.
We're going to Ocean 11's this.
Yes.
Yeah.
In addition, as GM, hey, get a level up. You guys have been on the road and everything else. I'd like you guys to have a little bit more chutzpah as we go into like probably the last, because we've only got two left, guys.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I like the idea that Hoppers gets 2 levels up
Hey.
He gets 2 levels up?
because he's carried the team, you know.
Oh. Gotcha. Yeah.
No, actually, Hopper. That's the problem with that spell is like it quickly becomes not good.
Oh yeah.
Because it's summon undead is what you're supposed to grab if you want something like that. Or summon undead or feed.
Yeah.
But quickly summon Fae it's good till about 5-ish.
Yeah,
and then it's
that's
just garbage.
Yeah.
But I'm keeping it for now because it's
Oh, yeah.
Thematically appropriate.
Well, and it adds almost a fighting character for us.
it's the mascot.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, hey, old school like AD&D rules. It's the finishing blow that got the experience points. Period. Straight up. Whoever put the final kill in got all the points for that
Hoppers.
monster. So he's pretty much put the finishing blow for.
That's why all the Rangers are mad now.
Yeah.
They can't steal all that XP like
That's
they
right.
used to.
All right. And with that, we are going to wrap things up here. Once again, I am Jacob. I am GM. I work for the Dallas Public Library. All of the stuff that I've used to craft this adventure, including the equipment that we're using to record here, all belongs to the public library and can be used by you at home. All you need is a library card and to come to Central, and you can check out the stuff that we use to record. It's all there and available, free for use. It's a wonderful thing to have. Once again, thank you all so much for being here. I'm Jacob. This is
David Sanders.
and this is
Thank you, McDonald.
and this is
Alex, aka the Bear Bard.
yeah. And we will talk to you guys next time. See you in 2 weeks for
Nice.
session 5 of Stages and Satyrs. Until then, bye-bye.
Bye.